Pursuant to MGLC 30A 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of members participating remotely will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed, and other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law.
Bill Russaterrits on Zoom.
Thank you, Bill.
Ally,
What?
we have to go about this whole thing.
No, just Bill.
There's Bill. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Bill.
It's just the person who's on Zoom has to be identified.
Okay, minutes from October
14.
14th.
I have some minor corrections, some spellings and there's a date for a site visit, which I assume was a site visit. They're wrong.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, I don't understand because Word tells you when you this type of word, it highlights it and says it's misspelled.
Yeah, usually.
Well,
Well, it's so far off, but can't figure out what you're trying to say.
but it's just,
So, just in addition.
What is wrong with resource?
I fixed that. And then I said, I should have left it.
Oh, okay.
Just one addition, and you probably have already done it, but at the meeting, I asked that, the notice of intent for Mohammed Zabian, that we
Yeah.
follow up on that.
Yeah, I've got to get in touch with Mark. I
So-
couldn't get in touch with him this week.
But if you could add it to the minutes, because I asked for it at that meeting.
Okay.
it'd be done.
All right. Will do.
With the minutes, that'd be great.
So with correction, I move to accept them.
A second.
All in favor?
Ron, I Bill.
Hi, Sally.
Ron, I
Hi, Lisa.
I, Bill.
Hi, Joe.
asked. All right,
Oh,
up to Chuck, you're up first.
Apparently it was not fire protection.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of Van Sant Plumbing and Berkshire Green Septic. And we have to replace the E1 pump at 16 Lakeside Drive. Their system been down for about 2 months, but they have an accessory dwelling that they've been walking a couple hundred feet to use. So their E1 pump needs to be replaced, the whole unit. So we have to dig, I think, a 4x4 hole, about 6 feet deep, take the old unit out, put the whole new unit in and replace it.
So it's like a self-contained,
They're self-contained. They're a tube about this big, 6 feet high. They go about 5 feet in the ground. The pump sets down about 3 feet in and seals. So if anything happens to the pump, nothing comes up and over and out. Most of them up there have the E1 pumps. But they have a really old one and the whole system's gone, so we have to replace the whole unit. So we have to do some digging. The issue is they're on the other side of a little brook. So we're planning on running 4 6x6s, 20-foot 6x6s across the brook. It's only that deep, and running a small excavator over the 6x6s to get to the other side to dig the,
how close to the brook is it?
what's that?
How close to the brook is it?
About 30 feet. It's an original system.
But where the new one is going in.
And no one's going in the same spot.
Same spot.
But being we got across, they have a walking bridge, but we don't think it's strong enough to hold the mini excavator. And we don't want to get halfway across and end up in the middle of the brook.
Do you have to run any electric lines?
Everything's there. We just got to tie in everything that's original. So dig back a few feet, tie in the sewer main, tie in the pump, the line going out and using the same existing electric.
And you said it was Van Zant, and who was the other?
Bircher Green. Bircher Green,
Berkshire Green?
yeah. We got to cross the brook.
Yeah, so if you have to cross the brook, we should take a look. I mean, we'll approve it, but we should at least see it.
Okay.
And are the planks going to be put in and taken away?
What's that?
The planks for the
Yes, we'll
excavator to
use,
cross will
just to
be,
get across, and then we'll pick them up, take them out. I painted some orange, two little orange squares on each side where the 6x6s will go. It's only gonna be about 4 feet wide, 2 and 2 for each track. We'll go from bank to bank. The brook's only like 8 deep, but it is full of water. I think it's more lake water backing up, but it definitely is wetlands.
Everything's wetlands now.
What's that?
Everything's wetland.
Oh, yeah.
What's the address on that again?
16 Lakeside.
Oh, I got it here anyways. Okay. All right, how soon are you planning on starting this
As
project?
soon as we get the okay.
I'm fine if you want to just take a look at it.
Yeah, okay, I'll swing down the next few days to look at it, but you can start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Once-
Yeah, do it before it gets
What's that?
worse. Do it before it gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, the old system's there, it's full of water, it's right next,
All right,
pump that out, and we would pump that out to a septic tank, a septic truck, get rid of the old stuff.
all right,
So I don't know.
I'll try to get down there next, what's today, Tuesday? Next 2 days I'll be down there.
It'll be fine. I mean,
Okay.
2 or 3 days will be fine.
All right,
Okay?
yep,
Would you approve it, take a vote to approve pending your visit?
That's fine.
yeah, let's do it that way.
Sort of sounds like an emergency. I don't know.
I would say
So I make a motion to approve the, what did you
replacement.
call it, replacement B1
That's all I can do, you one pump replacing the other one.
pending site visit from Ron.
Yeah, it'll be like 20 foot, 6x6s, so it'll span
Yeah.
the brook.
hi Sally.
Hi, Ron.
Lisa?
Hi, Bill. Helen.
Hi, Joe.
Well, thank you.
I'm Bill R.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You got my number, right?
I could find you.
Yeah, I called you a few times, left you a message.
Yeah, I can-
have it. Thank you very much, and
Good night.
All right, thanks, John. Matt Boudreau,
Here,
Gould Meadows.
yes. So I wanted to get on to the agenda, to talk about Gould Meadows, because I think earlier in the year, I came and asked a question, especially when you heard through the grapevine about there was some interest in doing like prescribed burns to maybe help the meadows rejuvenate and see what the seeds might flourish or come out of that. Obviously, I don't think they happened. We didn't get there this year or
Get there last year.
last year. Yeah. And then through the word of mouth with the Ag Commission and hearing about Fish and Game having grant opportunities for habitat management grant that they put out there. They do a short window, like the last 4 months. The Ag Commission didn't think it prudent with anything that we were dealing with, but I immediately thought of Gould Meadows after hearing about the prescribed burn. So I thought it'd be good to come and talk to the commission with my business partner. This is Chris.
Right.
Because we're both meadow enthusiasts, and start kind of thinking potentially about this grant opportunity for next year, which it seems like it comes up every year. And I, was curious about what the ComCom was thinking with their thoughts around Gould Meadow and what they wanted to see with it. I know there was some mowing happening recently, and they're very conscious of the birds.
We, haven't heard back from anybody about the burn. Last year was too dry. It just wasn't gonna happen. This year, it seemed like it was gonna be too dry and then we've gotten a little rain.
Yeah.
But our window of opportunity to get it mowed is, you gotta get it done. Well, last year they mowed it and there was snow on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the fall.
There was a light, small layer of snow on the ground in the fields. Actually, the guys thought it went great because they didn't get all the goldenrod seed in the grill of the tractor.
Right, right.
But it came out pretty, and they mowed with a different piece of machinery last year too.
Yeah.
This year they did it with a brush hog.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all completed now, and we hadn't heard anything from the state on the burn, whether they forgot about it or they're busy, but they have our contact information. They came out 2 years ago and walked around and had a whole tour of the property with the people that do the burns, and nothing came of it because of the dryness. And this year we've never heard anything back, so I don't know if we're still on the list or if we've fallen off the list or what it is, but.
Yeah.
But
Who came and walked it to look at the investment of burn?
last year,
What, 2 years ago or whatever it was? Do they have like an assessment of the site or like
yeah, we walked all
its
around.
eligibility for a burn?
Yeah, they were hot on coming to do it, and then didn't turn. It's the same people that do the one in Richmond out on Swamp Road. It was the same exact people. Matter of fact, I talked to them out there when they did that one. So, and in preparation to have a burn, I had the town mow the perimeters of all those fields.
Yeah.
So if there was an opportunity, at least we didn't have to go chasing it down. It would have stopped whichever way the wind was blowing at the edge of the field. So I haven't gotten, matter of fact, I don't know where the contact for those people is right at the moment, but I'm sure I could find it again.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about though is a specific grant for wildlife habitat, for birds, for what?
So the way I understand the Fish and Game, it seems like a yearly thing they put out this time of year for municipalities or private landowners who are in chapter 61 to apply for anywhere, I think it's like $5,000 up to 75,000 for mowing, harrowing, plowing, invasive species removal, seeding. And that's just for the upland grass, which I think the Gould Meadows or grasslands would fall under. Then they do then they go into wetlands management and aquatics. A few places, I think BNRC got a few of these grants, like $30,000 for invasive treatments and stuff like that over the last couple of years. But I think to that point, it also, I think prescribed burns is part of the grant that you could apply for if you wanted to go that route. They also include, I think, native species, like surveying for endangered species through the Endangered Species Act of Massachusetts.
So what you're coming to us for is to propose that you write the grant?
No, I not necessarily. I think we're, like I said, we're enthusiasts. We want to help and support and figure out how to help figure out what the management is. The grant, I think it's real tight by now. I think it's due at like.
Maybe next year.
Yeah,
No,
3
but
days.
I mean, for next year,
Yeah.
you're proposing that you write it?
Help write or help figure out how to achieve that.
I think there's also a question of like before looking into writing a grant, if that's appropriate for the management plan with Gould Meadows, like what the plan is or where we need to.
So, I mean, with the question that I have then is, we need to see the CR.
It's just deed
It's just a
restriction.
deed,
It's
And it
deed. Says nothing very specific.
Mhm.
Okay,
It's very unspecific.
okay.
Because
The deed for
there's not a
what?
specific, there's not a CR on it. It's just a deed restriction.
Okay. It'd still be helpful to see it, just so we know what it is, and that would help inform, you know, what.
Yeah, because prescribed burn is like one option too. Theoretically in this grant, there's also mowing. And if you do strategic mowing at the right times of year and the right processes with like removing the material, you can kind of mimic what fire would do. But by removing some of the material, you can open up the sunlight to the soil to like get species, any seeds that are there. That being said, you know, if there isn't a seed bank of species underneath all that, cold season grass or whatever's there, you might open up all this light and there might not be anything special or anything that will magically appear if it's not already there. Like, you know, if you want to introduce species that are like hundreds of native species that are in meadows, or you want to see whether they're just magically in the soil, there's kind of like a trade-off. You can wait for 7 years or
It sounds like, so it sounds like the like legal restrictions guidelining pool are loose and open-ended.
Pretty
And
much.
so the decision on management comes to the Concom, it's up to you all.
Yeah.
And so then maybe like curious outcome here is like how we can, if there's a way to or an interest in like working together to create a more specific management plan with some specific objectives.
Mhm.
And we can do that outside of this meeting.
Yeah, the meetings we've had were just very small, and it's just a few of us that started this whole project down there. We've talked to the Audubon people, so we know when not to mow and when we can, when to start. Don't actually, because now we have the town doing the mowing for us. It's basically if we can get it mowed in the fall,
yeah.
we're happy. The other thing we're working on is sort of the parking lot, but that doesn't have anything to do with the field management.
Right.
We've taken down hedgerows that were there, that were all bittersweet vine.
Yeah.
So there's still that out in the field. Got a good crop of goldenrod this year out there.
Yeah.
That and milkweed, we've been pretty fortunate with the milkweed out there, so.
Right.
Those are the two specifics that I know of in that field. But there are a lot of cold weather grasses, so.
Yeah.
That kind of slowed things down with the burn process too, because they wanted it to get hit by a good strong frost before they consider it, and that's
Gotcha. Yeah.
pushes things back even farther, so.
Yeah. I think too, and it's, you know, there's a lot of, you know, people like see the meadow, see the grasses and stuff, like you're saying, the cool season grasses, and like working on just getting warm season grasses in there, blue stem, big blue stem and stuff like that.
Would you consider, or is this in consideration of plowing it, turning it over and reseeding with?
Yeah, so that's certainly a possibility. That's like a common preparation route that we go. But I think like there's a range of possible outcomes, and like I don't know that we want to discuss all of them right now. And I'm curious like what the venue or
How to proceed.
yeah.
My suggestion would be to put a paragraph in writing, just a general proposal that we could look at
Yeah.
and talk about and think about. I mean, off the top of my head, it sounds interesting, sounds
Yeah,
possible,
it's-
but I would want to see a little more specific.
It's doable because the majority of people that are been involved with this are starting to age out here. So it'd be great to have some new blood in this whole. We can't just walk away from this and say, hopefully the town will take it over.
Right.
I think Bill has a comment.
Bill?
Yeah, when you put together the paragraph, it would be good if you provided some benchmarks, some ideas on how you might manage it for specific goals, whether it's biodiversity or whatever. Because it seems right now it's sort of a rote kind of, okay, we need to mow it, we need to control things a bit, but there isn't any specific end game for how it's being managed. And that I think would be really helpful to see, to get your ideas on that sort of thing.
And some goals or something like that.
Yeah.
And we could do that in sections too. There's two portions of the fields down there that are easily defined, and we can easily define it into four. So
Okay.
we could start with a small portion, see how that works out, what the costs are,
Mhm.
and if we can get funding for those costs or for these portions. And then we say, well, we
Right.
got 90 acres now.
Great. That sounds like a great next step.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Do that, follow up.
Yeah, I'd be very interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
And one last word on Gold Meadows, not, I mean, you can stay if you want, but if there's plans or thinking about expanding the parking, can that come, can
Yeah.
bring that to the commission? See it,
Want to see if we get funding before we go to.
but I'd be interested, I don't even know what it is. Just know what it is. Okay, I'll try to talk loud.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Good night.
Rich Bradway, come forward, sir.
Hi there. How are you?
We're okay.
I'll sit here. I'm coming to you because the Stockbridge Land Trust has been in the process of digitizing all of its records. And we've been putting it into a software that allows us to better manage it. It allows us to do better work around annual monitoring. We work closely with BNRC, with whom we also co-hold a number of CRs. So we kind of share our information and can have it accessible to us. And in the process of doing our digitization and migrating things over to this new system, we were looking at the construct property, which is where Pine Woods is. And there's a conservation restriction on it. And since I've been with the Land Trust, which has been about 10 years, we've monitored it every year. And we track it to see what's going on and whatnot. And when we were doing our files and looking at stuff, I noticed that we didn't have a CR in our records. Like we just didn't have it in the records for construct. So I was like, huh. So I went to the Registry of Deeds and looked it up. And lo and behold, we're not on the CR. It's the Concom. And so what this kind of came back as is that we actually, back in our early days, we had a lot of enthusiastic members, one of which was Shep Evans, who passed away this summer. And he would just go out and monitor properties, whether or not we had something involved on the property or
Is
not.
a Concom member?
No, as a Stockbridge Land Trust person. So we'd have these records for, like, we have records for the Chestnut Preserve. There's no CR on the Chestnut Preserve. But we have monitoring records that Shep would do. And so, we looked at it and, we're of the mindset that we are totally happy monitoring the CR on behalf of the Concom. But I just want to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's and having some letter that says from the Concom saying, we would like you to monitor it and share what you find every year. We'd be happy to do that. We're happy to provide you with access to the records for which we're monitoring CRs. We have CRs for which the Conservation Commission is associated. So I'm just simply saying is that, like, we're happy to do it. But like what we're discovering is that we have a number of CRs that were established 30 years ago. And new generations of people are coming in, new landowners are coming in, and we are in constant conversation with them. And what we're just trying to avoid is, like, what would really be bad, and I don't think this would happen with construct, is that we just show up one year and we start monitoring and we're basically trespassing because we're not actually involved with the monitoring. So we just want to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's.
So I have a couple of concerns.
Mhm.
One, I think now people contact you if they have concerns about pine woods.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, a concern I just heard today is all the parking that's going on there and all the vehicles from highway department that are being parked there, and that, I think that came to you.
Oh, that's the bird
That's the
sanctuary.
foot property.
Foot.
Property.
Okay,
That's not this
Yeah.
one.
that's not.
That's the other side.
What constitutes as a CR on this property is really, really small.
Yeah.
It's
Down by the-
basically a sliver of land in front between the street and the buildings is really like the bulk of the CR. So it's really not much. And we do it every year. We just go and we take pictures. I can share with you like our last one, which was really nothing to share. So,
And then you would, if you monitored, you'd send a report to the Concom?
yeah, but we would also just give you a login so that you can then access any of the properties to which you're affiliated with, and you'd have read-only access to be able to access
Would you,
all of the monitoring that you've done.
would you have a time schedule that you do this on? Is it like a fall event?
Yeah, so we typically send out our letters in the fall and then we follow up and we usually have our annual meeting. And then after the annual meeting in November and December, we'll go out and do the monitoring. Some, depending on the property, sometimes the landowner will want to be there and then we have to wait and coordinate. Sometimes they're just like, go ahead and do it. So,
Here's a question.
yeah.
Is it an amendment to the,
It's not an amendment. It's just basically, I think what it would be is just basically a memorandum of understanding that just simply says, we're the Concom, we would like the land trust to monitor it on our behalf and report back every year.
so I'm not opposed to it. However, we just went through this with Berkshire Botanical Gardens and we were told we couldn't do the memorandum, that it had to be an amendment.
That's a different memorandum because we were trying to change the structure of the thing. This is just simply a monitoring thing.
So as long as it's okay with town council, I'm not opposed.
And if you don't want us monitoring it, we're okay with that too. I'm just simply saying that, we've been doing it for more than 10 years. And so, I think back in the day, it was more of like just a neighborly thing to do, and we are happy to do that. I just, in this day and age, with respect to what's going on, we just want to make sure that there's nothing that's not,
Do we want?
under the table.
I don't know if we want it or not.
Are there any other properties like this that are set up this way?
No, because any of the other ones in which the Concom is associated, like Berkshire Botanical, we monitor it and that we're responsible for monitoring it. So we monitor it and we have it there and we have a CR and that's our responsibility. So we do that. This is one where we don't actually have our name on the CR. So we were just like, I'm just like, should we be doing this? That's all.
It would be good to get the records of the past monitoring
Sure.
in our files.
And then
They're
let's
really-
continue on and add to it.
Well, again, I want to make sure we do it right and not just do the memorandum because we were told last time we couldn't do that. So I would want that cleared before we agree to do it. Because we tried that and I'm not.
I think
I'm not-
typically in a CR, a person who, an organization, institution that owns a CR can also delegate
Yeah.
the CR responsibilities.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't know. So I
Okay.
think it's just a simple question of
Okay.
what do we need? It doesn't hurt to ask.
And I mean, if they come back and say no,
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll give you the records. It's on you. We don't care.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure we do it right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
we can do that.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you've been
Yep.
doing.
Hold
Yeah.
Rich,
Ooh.
we'd have to go back to the start and go through everything.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, if we want to add it on, but just add it on correctly.
Yeah. Thomas Landscape Design and Construction. 11 Mackinac Terrace.
He's got a couple of things he needs to come in and talk to us about. One was the 11 Mackinac Terrace, which I had told him we needed to go look at it. We got the letter from the owner saying he had gotten all the permissions and was quite surprised to discover that that was not so. So we need to get him. I understood that he was going to be in here tonight.
He's not anybody up there.
No.
Continued.
Get in touch with him again.
All right. Notice of intent. Mass Department of Fish and Game. It's got to do with boat ramp.
Good evening.
Come forward.
Back again. Since the last hearing, revised the plans and submitted stormwater report, for your review. Your consultant submitted his comments on that, very recently. Yeah, I'm here to discuss anything you'd like to discuss.
An email?
The plans were in an email, the written description I didn't find. Was there a write-up too, or just the plans that came out? Because I didn't see a write-up.
There was the stormwater report,
Right.
its own narrative.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Was there a write-up for the revision of the NOI?
Not necessarily, just, I guess, the email itself that it was contained in, but the stormwater report. The narrative in that, I intended to fill that, but.
There's a complete package here. Terry Smith, the acting director for fishing and boating access. So there is a complete package of the notice and intent.
The new one?
Filed.
That's the new one?
And then there was the complete stormwater report.
Yeah.
Everything in the revisions were included in submitted to your consultant, Fleetwood.
So what I didn't find was the updated notice of intent. Is that what that is?
No, I mean, you're not incorrect there. I didn't update the original narrative in the notice of intent.
Can you send that so we can see it? Because I'd like to read it if it's updated.
There's nothing to send. I mean, the stormwater report itself basically discussed the changes to the project. It's
When we came and proposed the project previously, we were asked to submit a stormwater report.
Right.
We discussed all of the revisions that on the recorded meeting.
Yeah.
Had come to what we thought were the terms with the commission as to what we would look at in terms of addressing any of the public comments that were received at the meeting in August. We asked for a 2-month extension specifically related to preparing the stormwater report and the considerations that were given. The Conservation Commission asked us if we would consider plantings in cooperation with National Grid, which we've shown on the plan. We discussed looking at sizing a detention basin for up to the 100-year storm event,
Yeah, thank you.
which we did,
Yeah, thank you.
and which the stormwater plan did. We discussed the entrance to the driveway and capturing all of the water that comes off of Route 183 that goes into the property and making improvements to that. So that has been addressed on the plan. So in terms of the impacts and what we came here originally for was to repurpose a floating courtesy dock system for kayaking, and the impacts to the resource area related to that has not changed on this plan. It's still the same design of what is in the regulated resource area. What we did is we committed to investing more monies in making improvements for the parking area. And so while it's expanded, I don't know how that we could prepare a more written, detailed description or narrative, because the resource area impacts that were listed on the notice of intent form in terms of the impacted square footage areas of like the land subject to flooding, your consultant commented on comment number 1. the area for the float system, that hasn't changed. The impervious sidewalks haven't changed. The stuff that was within our original scope of work. What changed was we agreed to do more to improve from what we heard from public comment related to stormwater.
So one of the things that that's why I was looking for a written document. I didn't, and maybe I missed it, but I didn't see a species list of what you're planting.
For the plants, no, I did come with some suggestions tonight to get on the record. I wanted to discuss that with you folks anyways.
And we had discussed that at the last meeting, that once we came to a conceptual understanding as to how the project would advance, that we would work with the habitat people within Mass Wildlife to be able to identify species. We discussed that at the last meeting.
Okay, but we still,
Yeah, so,
when we sign off on.
George has some
Yeah,
suggestions. So I think that we have tried to address everything that we needed to and have updated the plans of.
Yeah, no, I know you have. Thank you.
So, Mr. Cameron, from Fleetwood, just for the record, his comments that were specific to this. So he couldn't be here this evening. And so David Cameron's comments addressed to the commission, today, actually this morning. He talked about land subject to flooding. And we had listed some numbers in the original NOI. And basically, based upon his research, he, has basically indicated that the FEMA burn mapping and the flood insurance profile data do not indicate any flooding beyond what is apparently the bank of Stockbridge hole, which is itself is considered land under water bodies and waterways. So BLSF, the boring land subject to flooding, if it occurred, would necessarily have to be beyond upgrading of the land under water bodies and waterways, although this issue may have been discussed and clarified at a public meeting prior to Fleetwood's involvement in the matter. So basically what he's saying, it doesn't extend beyond what's there. He talked in too about the concerns and discussions have occurred regarding the erosion along the Bowles Bank, along the northern portion. He went into detail specifically, basically that this, based upon the stormwater report and the subcategory areas for the drainage areas, that they were so small that in the way that the water is routed in the existing conditions, that the subdrainage area, the proposed tree and planting should be kept to arrest this erosion, the erosion problem. And he pretty much agreed with what we.
And I think he said to cordon off that area.
Yeah, and that it would, which we would have to do anyways to let it stabilize.
So that's the plantings that you're going to talk to us about?
Yeah, that would be that area. I do have temporary fencing on the plan, that would be left in place until the growth can, establish properly. So we're looking to plant trees and shrubs. Trees, I need to have multiple options here just because when this goes to bid, nurseries don't always have what is necessarily specified. So we give them a few options. I'm figuring for trees, red maple, sugar maple, red oak, or white oak. Those would be.
And that would be, I guess, whatever the town too has an agreement with National Grid to be planted, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the program.
We're using money from National
Yeah,
Grid for this, so
we
we'll be paying.
have
for
the
it.
funds to purchase the plants that we choose.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, maybe that's our misunderstanding.
the money.
We thought that there was specific trees that would be provided
Well,
as part of the project.
There was a large planting and we didn't have the space and didn't work out, and
Okay,
so that they decided that they'd turn
The other half,
the half over to us and let us deal with it, so.
okay.
so it's our funding. And how, do you know how many?
Well, so that's two different subjects. The National Grid planting area would be along the southern fence line, along the driveway.
Yep.
That's the area we have proposed for the National Grid plantings.
Yep.
So that's this area. What we are proposing to pay for and install ourselves as part of the contract would be along the bank stabilization area. And that's what I'm specifying.
Okay.
I mean,
The trees don't have to change or anything like that. We would just, the funds would come from a different pocket, that's all.
Okay.
It came in, we have the monies. We're just looking for opinions on what they're planting there.
if what is here are some evergreen trees, but mostly I believe sugar maples. So I think it would be nice to have more sugar maples aesthetically, rather than a mixed bag there. But like any of these species would be fine with me. But that's, so I'm recommending the red maple, sugar maple, red oak or white oak for our scope here. So that's for the trees. For shrubs, black chokeberry, gray dogwood, sweet pepper bush, and high bush blueberry would be 4 options. Some lend, some more closer to the bank. Those would be.
Do we have any numbers? Have you, or is this,
It would be, end up being more of a spacing,
all
not
right,
necessarily numbers.
And just so I'm clear, this is for the bank?
This is for the bank area, the currently eroded slopes that are gonna be reshaped.
Okay.
Loamed, seeded with a conservation steep slope mix, to establish short-term, control. Covered with biodegradable netting, that should last about 2 years. And then, also these plantings we're discussing.
Could you kind of point to where the trees are going and the shrubs maybe?
The
So we
trees,
know, yeah.
the trees are on the northern corner.
There's 4.
I have 4 specified here. That would be, any number of those species I mentioned. That's the only spot we have planned for trees. The rest I have, there already are trees along.
yeah,
So then between the floating dock, courtesy dock system and the trees that exist there, we're not proposing to take trees down in the boat ramp there is where the bank stabilization is proposed, because that's where it's all eroded from people walking and foot traffic that's there.
will the matting and that, and the seating be enough to hold it in place?
I would have to imagine any other project I've been on, a 3-to-1 slope with this matting that I'm proposing is.
And then
And it's
the
coordinated.
design details that are on the plans are taking our specifications for our projects are based upon Mass Highway specifications. So we're using bank stabilization techniques that are standard for for 2-to-1, 3-to-1 slopes.
So if I can back up just a minute, because it's a lot of detail. And it's great. I like what you're saying, but I would really want it in writing.
It is on the plans.
It is on the plans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all right
Plans.
here.
It's all there. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And then the plan details itself in terms of the cross sections of the sidewalks and these are visual. These are a plan view of the site, but the specific details related to everything in terms of erosion controls, in terms of sidewalk cross sections, hand railings for the walkways and all of that, that's in the complete detailed set of plans.
Right.
That we understand.
And everything along the bowl, you are covering the cost of, and Concom is covering the cost of the National Grid, right?
I'm pretty sure that's how we left it. I don't think you just requested a sighting for the potential plantings.
Okay.
So the third comment, Fleetwood reviewed the stormwater report. We used HydroCAD modeling for the stormwater calculations, which is standard for what, any consultant we would hire or whether we do it ourselves. So the summary of the tables was provided in the report with the peak discharge will be less than the current conditions from the site during the 2, 10, 25, and even 100-year storm events, due in large part to the proposed detention basin in 4 bay areas that are proposed. And they go on, in their review comments, go on to note that this feature will prevent much of the stormwater that currently flows to the bowl from discharging to the bowl once the project is complete, provided the system is properly maintained.
So that was a question I had. Who's doing the maintaining?
Well, the existing facility is under a land management agreement with the town.
So the town will maintain it?
The town has a land management agreement with the state through a formal land management agreement for like the day-to-day, like leasing, trash, litter removal, and the upkeep of it. And part of that agreement is that when the facility, in part 1 of that agreement, it discusses that effects from weather and normal public usage are the responsibility of the state. So we work through town contracts sometimes. So if we get a call and said, hey, the 4 bay needs to be cleaned out, or the deeps on catch basins need to be cleaned, then we pay for that. But we need someone here locally to monitor. That's why we have that land management agreement put in place.
So let's make sure that's clear in the minutes. Who's doing what? If the town is monitoring and we can call the state, then.
And that's just no different than if someone calls up and says, hey, there's a hole at the end of the boat ramp or something like that. We, as we try to address things, as we're made aware by the day-to-day managing authorities for the facilities. Because we have 310 facilities and there's 7 of those.
Terry, is there a document that lays this out?
Yep, and it was provided. I think but anyways, when I was here at the last meeting, there is a written document that the town administrator, that I shared with the town administrator.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we see it?
We saw it.
Yeah.
It was emailed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I shared it with
see
them because it was signed, I believe, maybe during, it just 6 months or 8 months before Michael took the position on.
Town already does the trash.
So,
Matter of fact, during the winter, they snowplow that.
And the consultant, your consultant goes on to note that the grading and related improvements at the site entrance will better and more appropriately manage stormwater emanating from Interlaken Road, which is Route 183. And then he goes on, 4th comment, that he notes that public comments appear to focus mainly on proposed pavement near the envisioned ADA sidewalk and ramp. This pavement represents only 12% of the total site area, according to the stormwater report. A concern was raised regarding how this pavement may affect the cold water fishery status of the bowl, though Fleetwood understands the bowl is primarily characterized as a warm water fishery, not a cold water fishery. In any event, the stormwater standards do not require evaluation of effluent temperature emanating from stormwater best management practices. Comment 5, Fleetwood notes the public comments raised about the aesthetics of the proposed project, and in particular, the paved area. Given that aesthetics are highly subjective, Fleetwood offers no opinion on this matter, but does note that the Stockbridge wetlands bylaw includes aesthetics as a consideration. And I think that we worked through at the last meeting, we discussed, pretty much, the use, and George has done a good job to select the types of guardrails to go in that would be aesthetically pleasing. We talked about where the plantings would be, the tree lines and the things. And we've even considered, if this wasn't, in all honesty, if it wasn't here and it wasn't common in Stockbridge that people have dense graded or airport type of driveway mixes and parking areas, we wouldn't be proposing what we're proposing here. We would be proposing a paved parking lot because long-term that would be less maintenance and we'd be addressing the stormwater improvements. So we've considered the community's aesthetics in terms of the site design as it relates to, pavement, and we're minimizing it. And we've tried to incorporate, through the detention basins, the existing site and the layout of trees and everything, taking all of those things into consideration.
I didn't follow all of that, but I think I got the gist of it. I didn't.
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
really understand
basically,
that.
what we've selected for, like our proposed plan in terms of the surfacing materials, in terms of the guardrails, in terms of tree plantings, in terms of public comments that we heard in August. We tried
You made it more.
to make it fit with
Stockbridge.
the community and abutting properties in terms of aesthetics. And they just go on in summary, the revised site plans and related materials appear to have taken the commissions and public comments under serious consideration and provide more clarity and improvements on the original NOI package. Fleetwood notes that the need for this project was identified in the Stockbridge Bowl watershed-based plan, dated November 15, 2022, draft 11, page 4. And it just goes on to say, to further address runoff issues and shoreline erosion, the town has requested the Commonwealth of Mass. And so they stated, he took the language of your own town, like stewardship commission's recommendations, and put that in here. And this is exactly what we're doing. The town has requested the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to address runoff issues at the public boat ramp and is awaiting DCR, which is, that was an error in the town's report. It's Department of Fish and Game that has control, not Department of Conservation or Recreation. And it just goes on to say, overall, this project represents a significant improvement upon existing conditions. And that evidently prioritized this project at the town's request, and it appears to meet the relevant performance standards of the wetlands, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, which is what your authority is,
Right.
and what we're responsible to do.
Mhm.
And so we appreciate the commission's considerations of this, and we would ask at this time and in this hearing that it be closed
Mhm.
to further public comments, and that the commission take a vote on what we proposed, because we are in a situation fiscally that
I wouldn't know.
we need to put this project out to bid this fall so that it could be constructed in the springtime. And that we're under budget constraints and we're under time constraints. And if it continues to get delayed and it continues to move on, then we're gonna have to move on to a different project site, because this funding is tied to the fiscal year. And we need a window for actually completing the construction. So with holidays coming up and things and scheduling meetings, if this gets bumped out another 2 months, we need to put this to bid. For public procurement takes about 3-month process. So,
All right, I'm just gonna ask if there's any other questions. Just,
From the
yeah, public, does anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask? Kate?
Yeah, I'd like to speak. My name is Kate Fletcher, and my husband and I are abutters. And I am, I am someone who did comment previously about the impervious area by the lake. That means the ramp, the increase in impervious surface with the parking, and then with the path going down to the lake. And Mr. Cameron does reference the bylaw openness to aesthetics. And I would agree with him that aesthetics are subjective. So this is just my input as a resident, but I am someone who spends a fair amount of time thinking about how Stockbridge looks and works and feels. So one thing that I do want to express appreciation for the, addressing increased, attention to stormwater runoff. But I would also ask that, and my comments are to you as a commission, that consideration be given to something like permeable pavers for the parking area in particular. I know there was a suggestion from Bob Montgomery and Jay Iredale that I thought was certainly worth considering to potentially move that parking area back in order to provide for more green space. But I'll let Bob speak to that. I just think that, as it turns out, in this case, improved aesthetics also relate to an improved ecological output or, what end game. So I hope you will give consideration to that. Also, I did notice, I took a look, I sent you folks some photographs from Pittsfield, from Pontusic Lake. I don't know if you saw my email, but I did notice that the path going down to the lake, the V-shaped path, looks to be on the plans, it's indicated as a 5-foot wide concrete path. And then when it comes to meeting the aluminum dock, that narrows to 4 feet, that dock. So if this is relating to ADA, I would urge you to consider a narrower path. That my experience looking at what used to be a much more naturalistic approach up in Pittsfield was that it feels very different. And a lot of that has to do with.
That work wasn't.
Could I finish, please? I'm addressing the commission.
I mean, so no one's confused what was done at Ponce.
So let her finish. Yeah, let her finish.
Okay.
If we're taking public comment, I hope I can finish. So what I just noticed was a very different feeling to the area. It used to be an area that I would enjoy stopping by, during the workday to take a quick break, and it no longer feels relaxed and natural and inviting. And I hope that we can keep this program more in that country style that I think people associate with Stockbridge. So, and I think that there's a way to do that by considering permeable pavers. Thank you very much.
Could I ask what you consider a permeable paver?
And you know what, I'm gonna let Bob speak to this because he has direct experience with it. I mean, I've studied, as part of coursework. I've, reviewed cases where they were used. And it's basically, Bob, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, you can go online and
Identify yourself, please.
Bob Montgomery.
Thank you.
My wife and I are butters on the south side of the boat ramp. To say, right along here. And lest I forget, remind me, because I want to comment about the tree planting along here. So there are multiple generally plastic netting, generally about 2 inches thick. They come in various forms, but what it allows you to do is to lay this over a given surface, fill all the voids in the plastic netting with soil, and you can plant the soil. If you want to fill the voids with gravel, so be it. We had an instance where we had a very prominent elm tree in Great Barrington on Church Street and a driveway going into the main road. They resurfaced the main road and they wanted to put asphalt over the sidewalk area into the driveway, access to the house, right next to the elm tree. And the elm tree had very little space for its roots, and it's a tree this diameter. And we put this grading over one of the major roots of the tree 15 years ago. It is still in place. We've had absolutely no problem with it, no erosion of the fill in there, and it allows moisture, rainwater, to seep down into the root zone of the tree. And it's very efficient. There's all kinds of testimonials to this kind of surface. And I think, just offhand, I think there are a lot of areas in this boat ramp parking area that could be done in this fashion and with very little annual maintenance required. I don't know if any particular maintenance would be required.
Is it a greater cost?
Relative to using asphalt, excuse me, I can't comment. I don't know. At the time that we did it, it was a relatively small area.
Mhm.
As I recall, it wasn't all that expensive. Okay, that answers the question. Now, I just want to comment to both of you. I think you've done an enormous amount of work for this, and I feel like I'm very late to the party. But I appreciate and very empathetic with your work. Coincidentally, my father worked for 35 years in the state of California in the Fish and Game Department, managing the whole of Northern California. So familiar with your work. I've written a letter to Concom, 2 letters in fact, and the last one is a letter to propose a modest change that I think may impact definitely the cost of what you are proposing. I'm not an engineer and I don't own a transit, but by eyeballing the data that's presented in this, I think we can accomplish the same purpose that you want to do with respect to the ADA compliance on the boat ramp. And it involves eliminating the very long V-shaped walkway, which I think is intended to accommodate the ADA slope requirements. The problem that I see and others see with that walkway is it goes right through a very large area where people who are associated with boaters, I'm talking about parents or colleagues of boaters who are not boaters themselves, but they may be there to supervise children who are out there on paddle boards. I see it every day that we are in residence there. They are there to be parental and look after their kids on the water. And there's only one place for them to sit. And that one easy place for them to sit. And that is exactly where the V-shaped walkway is proposed. Right now, that's a kind of a grassy area. It's sort of beaten down because of activity there. But it is, that concrete walkway is, I think, is going to, from an aesthetic standpoint, is going to really diminish the environmental and aesthetic qualities of the area. I've noodled with this and just looking at the contour lines of the map. In my letter, I have suggested, rather than have this V-shaped walkway to get down to the ramp, do a straight walkway from the ramp right up through the parking area, move the guardrails for the cars that are currently in place back 30 feet. If you do that, then you have about a 90-foot run down to the dock. And by my rough estimation, the slope of that complies with the 12-inch drop, 1 inch drop over 12 inches. And I lay that out. It's basically a drop of about 7 feet from the parking area to where I would reckon the top of the dock is, a floating dock, maybe 12 inches off the water. And that is that would comply with what my understanding is of the ADA requirement. This would leave that whole area currently used by people who are not voting, but who by necessity as parents need to have a place to reside during the day. And secondly, I know perhaps you've done a lot of work on this, but I cannot see how cutting a 5-foot concrete strip in a V shape there doesn't cut into and seriously cut into the root zone for those very mature trees that right now are at the shoreline. Those trees are all leaning toward the lake. How are they supported? They're supported by very large roots. We can't see them. They go back through that area. And you're gonna, by my estimation, the minute you start to cut at that path, you're gonna go no more than 8 inches deep before you have to cut through roots. And those are sustaining roots for those trees. And the loss of those trees would be really criminal. They're beautiful. They provide enormous amount of shade for the whole area. So, as I say, I think it's late in the day. I appreciate your comment about the timing, the cost, and the timing constraints that you have, or budget constraints to get this project going. But I don't think it would take much time at all to just do some engineering drawings to affect what I'm suggesting.
We've done them this year, throughout this whole year.
With that design,
this is the eighth design I came up with. To suggest that this was done anything less than carefully.
And every time.
I'm not suggesting it wasn't done carefully.
And every time we come back, we hear concerns over people who aren't the intended users under our regulations of this facility. The intended users of this facility are people who are launching and retrieving boats and vessels, okay? And so the area that is here and where people tend to be without our permission and without consideration in the past, there was a storage shed that was put up for the boat ramp monitors. Without that, there's a grass area on that side that when I come here on Fridays or Thursdays or Saturdays on my own time, sometimes I see those areas where people set up picnic tables and they're sitting there drinking wine, which is against our regulations. In different types of intended activities, this facility, everyone across the state has its unique features to it. So our design, and I don't follow you, I guess, when it comes to the AAB regulations. AAB regulations that we're required to follow under, which is the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, as they relate to recreational facilities for ADA compliance. That's the governing authority that we have to follow. Section 12. Okay. So I don't follow like the 90-foot. And because this is an intended use facility for fishing and boating access, that pushing anything back further than it is from the waterfront would cut off any available parking. We already have a minimal amount of parking at this facility for the use we see here. So moving things further back from the water to create a longer pathway reduces the amount of parking, which will complicate and create problems related to overcrowding of parking and people parking then maybe around the said basin and things like that. So I think what we have here and what we propose is a mixed use balance. But could I ask you a question? I want to show you something for clarity, because the description of pervious pavement, is that Is that what you're talking about, the gravel filled?
Like a geogrid plastic.
That's a geogrid plastic that you described that's filled with crushed stone.
I mean, they're made,
Geogrid, yeah, that's.
Okay, so I'm gonna
That is
explain
an
that.
example of it, yeah.
That's an example of it. We use this at a pond that calls Forest Lake in the town of Palmer to address something that involved erosion control and stability for people, for better footing down to the lake. We put this in. Okay, and that's what it is. It's a plastic, it's made, it's a geotextile product. And we put that in after the very first heavy rainstorm that was encountered. We had to go back, remove it, take everything that washed out of the lake and go back and pave it.
Was that on a slope?
It was on a very shallow slope of probably like less than it wasn't as steep as a boat ramp, but it was probably about an 8% slope. It was a beach area where people because of foot traffic and what people were, using because of the normal use of it, tended to have water go down there. So the Conservation Commission in Palmer needed to issue an emergency certification request to us to go in and do these repairs with approval from, with DEP reviewing it. Even though we wanted to pave it, we agreed to try this and then it failed and then we had to go back and refix it. So it cost us 4 times as much because once to build it, once to take everything out.
Your point's
And
made,
then-
I think. Point's made.
So I'm not I'm a PE. George is an excellent engineer. We do better work than the consultants we hire.
I'm
In-house
not surprised.
and stuff because it's our specialty.
Yeah.
In our requirements, and again, is to propose something to the commission that is compliant with the Wetlands Protection Act that we are proposing something that meets the regulations. The town's consultant has said that we're doing that. If Henry Ford was to ask people in the 1900s what they preferred, they would have said a faster horse. They wouldn't have imagined an automobile, and that's a quote that he has in the Henry Ford Museum.
Let me just.
And stuff. So I appreciate everyone's input on this, but this is a decision where the commission, we've presented something and I feel we've done over the past 6 months of a tremendous effort in trying to take in public comments, meeting with folks on site and have come up with a design which is reasonable. But we're in the position now where, we have a limited budget for this and we have a limited amount of time to procure this project so we can get it to public bid.
Okay, Terry, I think you made your point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
yeah, I just wanted to comment that my understanding is that the permeable pavers are made out of different materials. There's, there's a market, and there's different.
There's a whole range.
Whole range.
Right.
And I also just wanted to remind the commission respectfully that the area that I wasn't talking about the ramp, the area that I was bringing up for consideration for permeable pavers was the parking area that is being increased.
The
So
handicap accessible parking area.
the entire, parking area, which is.
Relatively flat area.
It's a relatively
Yeah.
flat area, and so I just ask that, you consider that. And, in terms of the process, I just got the new plans on Monday, so, I didn't realize this process has been going on for 6 months. The first time I was aware of this was when, when there was a site visit, which I think was at the end of the summer. And at that time, I had access to the plans and I attended one of the meetings, which I think was in early October. So I didn't as an abutter, I just didn't have the sense that this has been such a long process, that we couldn't have some input here.
It's been over a 2-year process for us with the town, meeting with the town administrator, when the residents of the town of Stockbridge appropriated money at an annual town meeting to repurpose an existing courtesy dock system. And that's how this project started. And we listened and we see that there needs to be some maintenance and, you know, due to the effects of the normal weather and usage at the site. But I just feel, you know, I feel that we're up against hurdles here by abutters. And that we presented something that is compliant with the standards. Which is what we have to do.
Just to be clear, though, we've had some significant confusion going on here. Number one, nobody knew that there was, or at least a limited number of people knew that there was an arrangement with the town for maintenance. That was a big surprise to us when we discovered that.
The select board signs that. It would, I had an open meeting.
So but that's not what.
But yeah, I get that.
Let's stick with what we're, yeah.
But the other thing is, I forgot where I was going.
While you're remembering, can I ask a question? I confess I haven't read the NOI word for word. But we have a lake and pond overlay district in Stockbridge. We had to go through all the Ts and dotted Is in that when we build a house next door to this ramp.
Mhm.
Is this right now, is the plan that you're presenting in compliance with the LPOD? Assume it is.
We have to request a waiver from the planning board,
You have to request the
which
waiver.
should be our next step.
Okay. Just one comment about the parking space. Your last submission had an aerial photo of this, and it showed, by my recollection, maybe about 8 cars with trailers attached to them. Do you recall that photo?
I mean, it's a photo that's subjective to whenever a plane flew over and took an image of it.
Right.
But not necessarily what's reflective of what happens on a busy Friday day when there's an event at Tanglewood.
Yeah, so, well, my question is, we understand the purpose is for boaters, which means a whole variety of things. Number one, a lot of people come in with paddle boats or paddle boards on top of their cars. Other people come in with trailers.
Yeah.
And I grant you, navigating around a narrow parking area like this with a trailer can be a problem. In your planning, how many trailered automobiles are you planning for?
It's shown on the plans and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, George, is that what
Sounds
you have?
about right.
Yep, and then single car, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
So the car with the trailer can park here?
on this
Is
side
that what you're
here.
saying? As well as over here?
Yep, just like when the people pull in, they pull in with huge trailers that are pulling like.
Yeah.
You know, the loin skulls, but they tend to take and cut off a lot of the parking for.
Right.
You know, where people could, that's why in our facilities typically, you know, in paved parking lot facility, we line striping. People are like sheep and if someone's parked in an odd direction, that everybody else parks in an odd direction. And so in a paved facility, you would have parking spaces that are laid out that are line striped. And it maintains order in the facilities, but you know, that's something that can be addressed. You have paid full-time boat ramp monitors there in the spring that work for the town. You know, maybe they should also, instead of just being there and doing that, they could maintain some order at the site, like, you know, in terms of how people park and things like that. That's a separate meeting that we could have, but it's outside the conservation.
So I'll just make one comment, and I don't need to adversarial.
No, and
In the summer months, we are on the lakeside. Every Saturday and Sunday. Literally the most trailer boats that I have seen on any given day throughout the summer has been not more than 8. There just is not that much activity. So and I thought of this when I proposed this extension. I don't think 30 feet into what you have lined out as a parking area is going to compromise the capacity substantially. I've never seen.
it's a one-way,
Yeah.
it's gonna impact it, and it's gonna impact it from a turning radius standpoint. Because if there's 8 people that are parked in the spaces, or 6 people, or 10 people, it's a one-way driveway in, and the people need to be able to
Right.
to have a turning radius in order to, get pointed back out towards the street so they can back down to the ramp. So that's a consideration, moving it back cuts into the turning space area that's at the top of that. It's a difficult site with all of the mixed uses that go on here. But,
And
There's no.
the number of spaces for handicap parking?
we're required to have one for each type of use, so, and it depends upon the spaces. So if we have dedicated spaces for vehicles with car top loads only, we have to have a handicap space that's specific for that. And then if we have a space that's dedicated for boat trailers, then we have to have a space that can accommodate boat trailers as well. So that plays into effect and those spaces have to be accessible. The boat trailer space has to be accessible to the top of the boat ramp in slope and that, and then the ones for the vehicles with car top boats or shore fishermen or and people using the dock system, it has to be an accessible pathway. It's just not a matter of, in the regulations for accessibility, it's just not a matter of, okay, it's this number of feet in elevation change and a 5% slope maximum without handrails. There's also distances, like in terms of every 30 feet, you have to have a landing area, which is flat, is a resting area for someone. Yeah, so there's, so it's fairly complicated with that to address, issues that are concerns that were brought up in the comparison to what was done recently at Pontusic Lake. That's the city of Pittsfield project. While it is adjacent to the public access boat ramp that we had a land management agreement with the city of Pittsfield, that was part of their park work. That has nothing to do with the boat ramp project. It was something that we reviewed because we had to come up with some alternative parking across the street to accommodate what they needed for the park for handicap, for accessible parking spaces. So I respect your reviewing that, but I just think that that's important because if it's to compare it to this project isn't really the same scenario, because that's again, another challenging mixed use site. We got city property with restrooms in the park with the boat ramp that's adjacent, that we have an agreement for parking there, but it's a different scenario. City of Pittsfield owns that property. In this case, that's not the case.
I guess just to clarify, I wasn't saying that fell under your office. It was just an example of the impact of impervious surface on an area like these boat ramps. And I did notice that the paths were 5 feet, just seemed to me is the same width of the path that's shown on these plans. To my eyes, it just seemed oppressive. And I wondered, since I noticed that the aluminum was 4 feet, I wondered if those paths could be narrowed. That's all.
A lot of that had to do with handrails being, part of this walkway. The traveled way for the accessible path
Mhm,
has a minimum clear opening.
mhm.
So once those handrails are put in 6 inches from each side, now that clear opening is now like 4 feet. And
I see.
that's our minimum.
Mhm.
That was the idea there. And then rather than anywhere there's handrails, make it wider and then, you know, it would just constructability wise would be, it just.
So speaking of the handrails, you're saying that the path from the handicap parking area down for a short distance, down the V-shaped walkway, and then onto the floating dock requires handrails all the way?
No, only at specific spots. And I mean,
And it's not.
that is true, but, yeah,
Where the slope is greater than 5% slope, then you have to have handrails. If it's less, so the way George has designed this,
I guess there's not handrails there, but.
so where he's designed this, he has less, there's no handrails that come down here or here. There's handrails coming down from where the staircase is.
Right, okay.
And then there's also handrails here where on
To
both
drop
sides, where it meets to go on to the gangway to the
Right.
floats. But this does not have handrails, so there's no aesthetic concerns there.
So can you narrow those paths where there are no handrails?
From an accessibility standpoint, I believe when you look at the accessibility, the AAB regulations, I believe 5 feet is the minimum, just like the town,
It's-
just like the town's sidewalks.
What it is it's turning at a landing.
You have to
where you
have
got
a
the
5x5.
wheelchair. Yeah, the minimum width is 5x5 on those landings.
Okay.
But for continuity reasons, it's just 5 feet
Yeah,
everywhere.
so it has to relate to the AAB regulations in terms of accessible walkways, the landings and the distances and stuff. So, I mean, it's a bit of a complicated, design.
I just want, I'm sorry to beat the horse here, but just so I understand what you're saying, I want you to understand what my proposal was, which was to, rather than go this way, you go back this way. Bring these back.
Right, which takes away again the turning radius and the parking.
Again, it does. And I estimated it without a slope greater than 5%. Okay, so, but you're saying under the ABB, ADD, ADA,
AAB, Architectural Access Board.
you can have a slope greater than 5%. And if that were the case, then my calculation would be that you may not even need 30 feet. All right, look, we're well into the game. And I don't want to be a horse.
Well, I mean, there was a way to do
I just
this
want to know.
2 years ago.
I just want to know.
The town could have had volunteers design the project.
Could you just eyeball this, spend an hour between the two of you and conclude that this is feasible within the time constraints that you have? Because I guarantee you it would be a lot less costly.
I'm gonna say this, that I'm not gonna have our office spend any more time on the design of this. Because the town had 2 years to repurpose a courtesy dock system that they own. And had we signed an agreement and the town appropriated the money to repurpose that. And volunteers at that time, when it was appropriated at town hall, could have stepped up and said, we'll do this as a pro bono for the town. But at this point, the state has invested significant resources in this project. And I can just tell you from my professional opinion, from the parking lot layout that we show on the plans with the parking spaces and moving this back, we do not have the sufficient turning radius of the parking lot.
Can I remember what it was I wanted to say, and I know I've said it before, but Terry, you know, we seem like we're argumentative, but the two things that have come together here are the fact that when the town voted for this, I don't think they had any idea of the scope that was going to be involved. And I think we've all been surprised by it.
It's
And
complicated.
it is complicated. And that's why we're coming late to the party a little bit because we've been very surprised by this project and how big it
And we
is.
didn't want to see something reoccur that happened behind the Red Lion Inn in terms of something that was sold to the state and monies from the state were granted to the Housatonic Watershed Association and stuff to design something and build something that was non-functioning and non-accessibly compliant.
Well, we agreed, and that's why we voted to have it changed and moved. It seemed like a sensible option. And the town voted for it with the idea that it was going to be a sensible option, but we've been surprised by how big it is. And I know that you've mentioned a few times about the people who are monitoring at the boat ramp. The people who are monitoring at the boat ramp have one very specific task, and that's to look for zebra mussels. They are not required to do anything else, nor will they.
They monitor for invasives.
Right.
Not just zebra mussels.
Right,
They should be
exactly.
monitoring
But that's
for
their,
milfoil and
that's
all that.
their only purpose in life. So if
Well,
we need to
we-
have, wait a minute, if we
Okay.
need to have other people monitoring for parking and things like that, that's a whole other ballgame.
No,
That
because
doesn't
what
come to.
I'm suggesting is that other facilities that are managed very successfully that involve invasives and have boat ramp monitors like.
No, I get it.
On Lake and Southwick.
I totally get what you're
People do more
saying.
than just that. They monitor when the site gets busy. Same thing at Richmond.
No, I get that. I get what you're saying and
So
I
that's just
get your
something that the
idea.
town-
It's just not what these folks do.
No, I understand.
Yeah, so,
I see.
so
what-
it's a whole different ballgame if we have to do that, just saying.
Yes. But I had some people contact me because, they contact me directly too for management.
Tom, you have a question?
I do, the previous gentleman, you wanted to be reminded about tree planting along the.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, the area that you described, National Grid would be planting trees?
Well, no, it's actually the Concom. National Grid money, but the Concom will do the
No
planting.
Concom, all right.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we planted exactly on the other side of that fence.
Yeah.
At least 30 hemlock trees.
Oh dear.
Right now, they're anywhere between 8 and 10 feet high.
Yeah.
If the intent is to plant things like oaks or maples that are going to have, in time, will have quite a head on them, they're going to be competing with the hemlocks. And in about
20
5 years, the hemlocks are going to provide a lot of shade on the boat ramp side of that.
If they survive.
Treating them for the indulgence?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, sugar maple would be okay. It's good to know what's on the other side, but
Yeah.
we'll take a look. That's good
Just
to
to let
know.
you
Sugar
know.
maple would be okay growing in.
So we just designated that as a town tree planting area in cooperation with the National Grid utility and just
No.
hashed out
But
the.
we'll look
That's,
on- we'll
that's
look on
up to
both
us,
sides.
right?
Yeah,
It's,
We can talk about that, Bob.
Okay, we'll look on both sides. Thank you.
But you're right, though, they would be in shade. I think that's.
in 20 years.
But sugar maple will be.
To
okay.
get them
Even the
started.
oaks, they're in,
Tom,
okay.
Thank you.
ballgame on.
We seem to be a little bit at an impasse right now. First of all, I'm very respectful of the process and the changes that you both have worked on and the sensitivity you've had, and you've come up with ideas for more trees, which I think is very important. Just to step back a second, I am an abutter. And as I mentioned last time, this public access was once in my family and it was taken by eminent domain. And you said, well, you were paid for it. Well, of course we were paid for it, but that's not the point. The point is that my family has for several generations invested in the character of this rural, beautiful corner of Stockbridge. Bob Montgomery and Jane Airedale's property used to be our our property. And I have to say that we're enormously pleased the way they have stewarded that property, the way they have planted native species, the way they have planted trees, the sensitivity that they've shown. And I think that Bob's suggestion tonight is really one that's worth considering. And I know the timeline, I know the deadline, and it's saying that, you know, if you can't approve it now, forget it. We have to move on to other projects. But I'm just wondering if we could just open up this doorway very slightly to say, could you at least have a short timeline to consider Bob's suggestion of a straight handicap accessible entryway that would really protect this. May I have this one, please? To me, this green space is just enormously important. And to say that, well, we're really too much of the time, it's people who are not voting there, they're drinking wine, they're doing this and that. But I think Bob's point that a lot of these people are parents, their kids are voting. And it's also part of the character of this neighborhood, of this area, to have this a green space. And I just wonder if this wasn't, and I think the point about the roots of the enormous oak trees is a very valid one. So I'm just wondering if at this meeting tonight, you could open the door for, say, 10 days to really explore the option that I think Bob Montgomery has suggested, which is worth consideration. I know there's a lot of time going into this, but Bob and Jane have spent a lot of effort studying these alternatives. I think it's a worthy one, and just not to dismiss it readily tonight and say, sorry, can't do it.
I'm not this, okay, I'll back up and explain this, and I think George did at the beginning. He has done 8 different designs for this already, and the very first thing we did was look at, can we get a straight accessible pathway down in elevation? And we couldn't, without impacting the turning area of that parking lot. That was the very first thing we looked at.
Without impacting
for the area where people pull down the driveway and they need the space to turn around with and navigate with a boat trailer where there's parking. There's not room for it. It was the very first thing we looked at.
Yeah, I wanted to make it.
And we did 7 more design revisions after that.
It's not like this parking lot is a perfect rectangle either.
Right, it's a very odd shape, and people park, again, they park, people are like sheep, they park, they see someone park out of, you know, not in a formal manner, and then they're left to park in a gravel parking lot in another informal manner, and so on and so on. So, you know, so that's this area here that I'm talking about. People pull down here, and in order to get turned around, if there's all people parked and staged up here, whether that could be one van with a trailer that comes in with the skulls, with the rowing skulls. Okay, that's about a 50-foot long trailer behind a big like F-350 extended cab truck or a van. They take up almost all of the parking, and then a few parents or people come to watch or volunteers with that. Like the day we met on site, there was one of those that was there. They took up the entire row of parking for like a dozen vehicles with one vehicle and trailer.
So just to leave that.
And so then someone comes in, the guy that was out there, the one guy when we left that was out there on the Friday night, who was actually just there fishing after all of the kayakers left. There was, in practicing for the Josh Buildings, there was one boat trailer that was parked here. So if someone else came in when that was here, in that one boat trailer that was parked in I would say like a designated parking area, and you move this back, there wouldn't be turn for another person to come and have it, to be able to turn around.
Could I see this for a second? And if you were to just move this section back, which would be the extension of the straight line, would that totally alleviate the ability you're explaining to turn around a boat?
There's not enough, there is not enough distance there. That's also too, don't forget the area where you have all your portable toilets. And so, I mean, I respect that everyone's coming up with proposals, but our job as professional engineers is to come up with something that meets this Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act standards. And I put my stamp on that because this does.
If you paint the paved area there with lines that, no parking between these lines and earmark a big turnaround circle, would that alleviate some of the problems that you foresee?
You
Well, these
can't,
are parking
can't
spaces
pay-
that are here. That's where handicaps.
can't paint the gravel. It wouldn't last a weekend.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, all right.
it's, I mean,
Draw that, I see that.
I
This
see.
is all the gravel area, right?
Yeah, and this
Can't
is
do
just, and this is where the, you know, where the hard top will, I mean, believe us, we've tried to do everything. We've taken everyone's considerations into concern to the best of our ability, but you know, we have to, you know, and what I'm asking is for the commission so that we don't get, so there's no confusion on it, that
Okay,
we
so
close the meeting to further public comments.
based on David Cameron's recommendations and long discussion, and I think we've come to as close an agreement as we can get. You've certainly done yeoman work to come to this point. I make a motion to close the hearing on this project and accept the plans as submitted.
I'll second. All in favor?
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Bill L.
I don't.
Bill?
Hi, Bill R.
With great appreciation for the public comments and for all the work that was done.
We honestly know how difficult this has been for you, but
All the way
understand
around.
it's been difficult for us too.
No, I understand. We have, I mean, we still have management issues to do.
So, so the public hearing's closed,
Yes,
but have we approved the plans?
yes.
Okay, so I want to add, I really want a species list in writing.
I
In
can
writing.
submit this for
Okay,
the
great.
record.
Thank you.
Let me just take a photo of it.
Thank you.
There would be a way of using those pavers, probably, with different colored pavers that you could use, generate stripes, you know,
That is an option.
that would be an
I'm generally opposed to pervious pavement because it's not necessarily just, it's a system. It involves,
sub-base.
yeah, and the adjacent gravel parking area would clog it after the first rainstorm.
Could you plow on top of it with a snowplow?
With a specialized.
Well, I mean, you know, we did consider in the design, and I'll say this, you know, just, you know, I appreciate that you closed this tonight. We did consider that, okay, and the parking lot is paved. We don't plow the facility in the winter, and
We
it's
do.
people that, yeah, it's either the town or people that do. So you have that subject to snow plows. And the other thing too is you have that subject to frost action that's independent blocks, like if they were impervious paving blocks, that differential movement of.
That's the most.
And this is really, it's intended for the accessible parking where you have, you know, where you have concerns. So we don't wanna.
You'd have to have some expansion joints.
Well, certainly when we could not use it where the handicap spaces are, it were not working. It's not compliant.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you, guys.
Wes, where are we? Dell conservation restriction, Loveless property. Route 102.
Sure to see you know.
Thank you. Okay, Kate.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
do you all get the draft that I sent?
Yeah. Thank you for incorporating, thank you for highlighting in yellow.
Yeah, that was really helpful.
Very helpful. So, I looked at the draft, it looked good to me.
Looked good to me.
Any comments,
Fine.
questions?
Do you want to approve it?
Make a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the CR for the Loveless property.
Okay,
Second.
any comments?
It's obviously pending reviews by Laurel.
Okay,
Yeah, this is just our input.
Laurel Hill has reviewed previous version. And the properties committee, -1, because he's on the land trust, so he recused, voted unanimously, just so you know, voted unanimously in favor of the changes that you folks asked for at Concom.
Thank you.
So,
I very much appreciated the small.
oh, Land Trust hasn't seen it.
No,
Okay, all right. So it's Land Trust that still needs to see it.
so Laurel Hill, the full board will have to have another vote on it. You know, the two organizations will need to agree on it, or else, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
did we just vote?
We approved the changes. We had made suggestions and they were highlighted in
I
yellow.
just want to make one more comment. Just, our, obviously, we're just doing it to make sure that it's enforceable.
Yep.
And that secondly, it will pass muster at the state level, which I know Kate has done a fair amount of work just to vet, but we just want to make sure that, I guess my question to you would be, in the event that we notice just mechanical issues with respect to the template, are you okay with us making those changes to the template so that we can ensure that they
Okay.
without necessarily changing the spirit or text of the.
I suggest that we amend the motion to approve pending approval by the full Laurel Hill Board, the Land Trust, and the state, right?
Well, it's, it's a back and forth basically, so in my experience, when I worked with the state on a preservation restriction, they were extremely thorough and careful and offered very helpful support in terms of their comments, making sure that each organization was thinking about understanding the wording and thinking about things that we might not have noticed. So this is a different agency. That was the Historical Commission. This, the office that reviews CRs falls under the housing agency. So my sense is that it might be a different experience, but the other experience represented a back and forth. So, based on what we heard, we made some changes. So I think it's very possible that will still happen. I did, to just try and reassure you, I did take care with the formatting. I did look at the state template, which actually had some formatting issues of its own. And I did my best to make sure the formatting was as much just so as I could make it. I think that I'm not too, I myself am not too worried about the formatting part, but you never know, right?
So I think, speaking just for myself, it's a new process for me. I haven't been involved in how this happens with 3 different agencies. We're like at the bottom of the totem pole, right? We're the second grantee, right?
There's a
So-
primary grantee is the
Yeah.
land trust and the Concom is the secondary
Second grantee.
grantee.
So I don't know the right way. I don't know if it's supposed to come back to us after.
We just need to be all in agreement, and obviously we also have to get the select board to sign off on this as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you,
So everybody's looking at the same document now.
Yeah,
We
but-
haven't
we'll
seen it
look
yet.
at it.
Well.
We have a meeting on the 10th.
So I would,
So if you can get a copy before the 10th, that would be great.
and I would accept Sally's friendly motion, which is pending the review of the
land trust?
land trust.
And the state.
Well, the state will, if we all
State gets
approve
the
it,
final.
the state, it goes to the state and then they'll just come back to us and either tell us that there are certain things that we need to fix.
Yeah,
And then it's up to us to then either just agree that those are fixable without having to go through an ordeal. Well, I would venture to guess that if we provide what we're doing and they have any suggestions, it's just gonna be a technicality that we just have to clean up.
And
That's all.
And what we're approving is what's going to get submitted.
Right.
So.
I mean, I think it's sort of one step at a time. There could be some back and forth, and it's great to know that you like this wording. The land trust will now take another look at it, and Laurelville, the full board, will take another look at it.
Okay.
And, so we'll just sort of motor forward one step at a time,
Okay.
okay?
All right, to make a motion,
Hi, Sally,
I'm Ron.
This is a motion with,
with the proviso.
okay, hi, Lisa.
I, Bill L.
My Joe.
Hi, Bill R.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Closed. 44 Interlaken Road.
Evening, folks. Make sure that's my Matthew Pumpkin, that's David Ryan. Here on behalf of the applicant, Lucy Holland. I emailed you yesterday revisions.
Yep.
You have hard copies of that. We made a few changes to the plan that I hope appeases the Conservation Commission. First, I'll show you on plan and then I have paper copies. Number one, we moved the garage / barn out of the inner 100 front area. We moved about 10 feet closer to the road. Number two, we've added many more trees in the planting area. Number three, I'm showing underground utilities going from the garage to the house, just to make sure that's understood that they're gonna bury utilities underground. And number four, a big oversight on my part that wasn't caught by anyone in my office or Mark Stinson or the commission yet. I didn't show any erosion control.
Well, it's on my list.
Oh, okay.
It's on my list.
So then you caught it. I missed it until about yesterday. So I show erosion control on the plan.
Great.
That's a quick oversight of the revisions. And I'm here to discuss any more questions.
I had two questions from the site visit. Where's the staging? Where's the work? Is the work done closer to the river or?
No, everything will be coming in from the driveway side.
Okay, great.
So the erosion control is the limit of work. I give them, 10 feet around the building because you got to build a building. You need a little bit of room. So nothing beyond erosion control.
And then a second question, just in terms of what we saw there, where you had the green plastic, the green, the cover that was on grass.
They got me.
And then you said that it was myrtle that you were gonna, was
Myrtle
that,
is what's already naturalized below when
is
I
that, is,
purchased the property and we were hoping for it to spread.
is myrtle vinca minor? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, because it is an invasive.
You can
I know.
choose another.
Yeah, just get something
Maybe we were
native,
just
close to the river, get something.
Yeah,
native.
it's real
It's really
invasive.
pretty. I love
I know.
the minor, but it is an invasive.
There's a white and a red and a purple.
They're lovely, yeah. But those were my only comments.
Good luck on the goat weed.
Yeah. We're trying.
Thank you for giving that.
After you left, I said, is this something you could agree upon to move it basically 10 feet? They said yes.
Yeah, great,
All right.
thank you.
Good.
And there's a new planting list included on the site plan. That was prepared by landscape. Sure. You're gonna be able to understand it probably better than me. They increased the quantity of trees and added some additional, I think birch trees were added also.
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about that on site.
yeah, that's.
It'll be pretty.
How many hard copies?
do you like? 'Cause if I give you four, that's a lot, so I'll give you as many as you
A
want.
lot. Yeah, 3 is good.
Okay,
That's a
But
better.
I just throw them away otherwise.
that's what happens in our office too, when they get lots. So that's 3 of the letters and 3 of the plans.
Great, thank you.
It's a much better plan. Thank you.
I take no credit for that at all. I cannot pick a tree or a bush. It's not my area.
Was poison ivy down there, they would have let you know. All right,
I make a motion to approve the NOI for 44 Interlaken for the construction of a 30 by 30 barn.
need a second?
I second.
I, Bill.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Ron.
Lisa,
Hi, Bill.
Joe. Thank you.
thank you.
Sorry,
I'm gonna stick around a little
We
longer.
don't always take an hour.
Well, we got an education on a number of other issues. So that's good.
Sometimes we do too. Where are we?
Thank you for all you.
Yeah, you don't want to stay for the rest?
No, it's so much fun.
Thank you, everyone. 5 Everett Road.
Good evening, Matthew Bunchaneski Design. We did a site visit out here about 2 weeks ago on a Friday.
Yep.
I walked the site with you folks and pointed out the proposed work. I know one item that you were hoping for was to add some additional, I'll call it stone adjacent to the footbridge. I call it a footbridge. It's more like an old horse bridge, but
Yes.
there was concern about erosion along the sides of that bridge. So I talked to the owner and the landscape architect. They had no issue with adding some stone there, just to help prevent erosion. That was my, there's no change to the plan. It just, that was one of the notes that I took away from that site visit.
Anything else here?
I make a motion to approve the plans as presented and close the hearing.
Second.
I, Bill.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Stick around.
One more.
Okay, we have the request for certificate of compliance for Don Bernard at 13 Rattlesnake Mountain Road. This is the one that's across from John Hart's house. That's just been cleared. David has reviewed the site a couple of times for wetlands, and they moved the silt fence according to our plans, as far as I can tell, driving past. Bill, you must drive past. I haven't seen
To
anything.
walk past, so yes, absolutely. They moved the
Yeah.
silt fence the appropriate distance.
I haven't seen anything changed. We could do a site visit if people want to, or we can consider that Bill and I have both done site visits.
If you have both seen it.
It looks fine. There's some sort of grass that's grown in the open space where the house goes. It's stable.
They probably threw some.
Does the sign say
Went
swampland
awry
for
or something.
sale?
No?
Yes.
Why?
I won't comment on how that came to be.
Okay, so it's not advertised as swampland.
No.
Okay, it's a little confusing.
I can't imagine who might have done that.
Okay, just wondering.
I'm in fog here, but I don't know what.
The sign, instead of saying land for sale, it says swampland for sale.
Oh, okay.
I haven't noticed that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got an idea too.
Okay.
Lives down the road and up the hill.
So if you both have seen it, I make a motion that we approve the request for certificate of compliance for 13 Rattlesnake Mountain Road.
I'll second.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Ron.
Lisa?
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Joe.
Bill?
I, Bill R. Had my stuff muted.
Okay, we have a request from Beaver Solutions. We talked about it last week. I didn't think we needed to really do anything more because it's an ongoing problem. They do it every couple of years. The beavers plug up that culvert.
Do we need, I thought it all went to the Board of Health.
It is generated by the Board of Health, but they want a DEP issued emergency certification, so we just have to, I have it ready to sign. So we just have to vote.
Okay.
that
Approve
it's good, yeah.
And what do they move the beavers? What do they do?
No, they put in fence, they put in a beaver deceiver or some sort of fencing to keep the beavers out of the culvert.
They build a wire mesh type thing that's,
So they can't get in?
yeah.
They go to Chuck's neighbor?
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Fast.
That was,
I'm just waiting to see the dam across the outlet. That's what it worries me a little bit.
Beavers took.
I'm sure they'd love to.
2 days. Yeah, anyway, thank you.
Big beavers.
Big beavers.
I don't know how they did that.
They're nature's civil engineer.
Have you seen the pictures?
No.
Oh, my God.
Who had
It's
the-
mind boggling
I've got it here.
It is.
of what they did. I mean, it's a big tree and they cut this huge thing out of it in one night. And then the next night they cut more out of it. It's amazing it didn't fall on them.
Well, how do they know where it's gonna fall? At least they're good.
And they,
It's down.
and
It
then
does
they,
catch a few of them though.
and then they cut the whole thing.
Once and-
3 nights, this big tree.
Oh, my God. What is that, like 18-inch diameter?
Yeah.
That's huge.
And it was so fast. It was so fast. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's extremely impressive. Anyway, so I make a motion that we approve the emergency certification.
Second,
Aye, Sally.
Hi, Ron.
Lisa?
Hi, Bill. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Bill R.
Okay, where are we?
So we have to sign that tonight. All right. Stephen Brooknell, 33 Interlaken Road.
Well, I'm here. This is my last one.
Yep.
So I'm filling in for Jim Scalise, who's on vacation. As I understand, he submitted an RDA
Yes.
for the property that I think was issued, a determination was issued. And subsequently, at the same time, submitted for stormwater.
Yeah.
Based on your stormwater bylaws in
Yeah.
July.
Yeah, we have,
So
we have
we're
the
here in
stormwater.
October,
Yeah.
wondering if the stormwater permit is approved.
Yes.
Did we approve? I don't remember.
We haven't approved it. It's being heard tonight.
Okay, can we, I don't have it in front of me.
So it's my understanding it was submitted in July and reviewed at previous meetings. I
The
was just trying to provide a follow-up.
RDA was, the stormwater was not.
So as I understand the bylaws, it needs to be reviewed in 30 days.
Well,
So I guess I'm curious what the action is now.
and it's just
And
because of the clearing area.
I believe it's the total clearing area. Is it the 10,000 square foot threshold?
Yes, yep. So it's really pro forma.
Which the plans show temporary erosion control measures. It even shows long-term stormwater management for a single family house, which is,
And does it do the 25 and 100 years?
I couldn't speak honestly. I didn't bring any documents with me tonight. Because I thought this had previously been reviewed and I was here just to see if there's any information required.
Yeah, I thought it had to, but it sort of crept up on us.
To the best of my knowledge, because I was in the office when it was worked on, our standard protocol is 25-year storm review. And at some occasions, 100-year storm review. I can't speak exactly for 100 years.
To do all, I mean, we asked for 100 year. I mean, if we miss the mark and it's our fault, there's not
But if
much.
the stormwater bylaw says 100, then I would like to confidently say that we looked at 100. I just don't remember exactly what the bylaws say for that specific storm event or storm events.
Just because that's, I mean, we're seeing,
I mean, it's relatively flat. So the concern is not, the stormwater bylaw was put into effect to basically cover,
remember,
cover a sort of a gap between what happens
I don't think that
uphill
works.
versus what happens downhill. And it used to be governed by the planning board, and then it went to the Conservation Commission.
They're doing land clearing on this property?
They may have already started because
Yeah,
The
they got
well has been
they got
installed?
their RDA, and we were out there the other day. So this is just the requirements for the over 10,000 square foot.
it's where we walked with you.
Yes.
Okay, no. behind.
Oh, no, it was where we parked first.
Where we
Is
parked
this
originally.
Interlaken Crossroad or?
Yes, Interlaken Crossroads.
Because this is Interlaken Road.
Yeah, the Crossroad Road does not show up on where this property is.
So we have, the full stormwater report on this. And like I say, we looked at it, it's relatively flat. So,
Shall we approve it?
Okay, I approve it, not happily, because I do like to look at them. And it's hard, I can't, at a meeting, it's, I've had the whole thing, read the whole thing, so. This is the other, but if we have a 30-day limit,
yeah,
then we have.
Missed it.
We missed it. So
Make a motion.
I make a motion.
I second.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Sally.
Lisa,
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Bill R.
and let's just make sure though on the agenda that it gets changed, so we have the right address, so we have a good record of what we achieved. It's
Crossroad.
I changed that everywhere.
Thank you.
You're
All right.
approved.
Now I'll leave.
Thank you.
Marion Fathers,
That's not me.
pump house.
Yeah, this is the stormwater permit for the.
So, I'm actually, Brian Slater with Forest Land Services. We're gonna ask for a continuation on the stormwater permit for the new parking lot because they have requested to make some changes. So we don't know what the final iteration of that parking area will be. The idea is to make drainage improvements also along the driveway as well. And then install, essentially better ADA compliance from the existing parking lot down the driveway to the existing shrine building. But because it's back in on the drawing board, we'd like to just request a continuation for that.
You waited all that?
No, I have another one too, but just for an update on the pump house, you'd asked for some pictures, I think, of the erosion controls and how that's being handled. I did have a long conversation with the contractor after your last meeting about what the plan was. So anyway, these are kind of those plans. They more robustly installed the silt fence. We took a look at it. It's installed properly. That is, the silt fence is actually buried in the ground. And there's a 12-inch silt straw bottle staked in front of that. And so they don't have really any concerns of this
That looks
soil
better.
migrating toward that barrier. And as you can see, it hasn't moved toward it at all now. The idea is they're finalizing the, yeah, you can pass those around. They're finalizing the electrical for that building. It's been insulated. The pump is installed. I took a look at it yesterday. It's just, final electrical work and some HVAC and then tying into the existing pump system. And I think, as we've discussed, it's a little late in the year to plant grass. So their idea is to put down erosion blankets over that whole exposed soil area. It would be essentially stapled into the ground to hold it in place.
Will they get the new system in place before the winter?
I think it'll be online. I don't know that they'll remove the existing building this year or wait until they finalize grading and everything next year when they can plant in the spring. But they're confident that, they're gonna stabilize it with erosion control blankets and make sure that. And as you can see in one of those pictures too, that pile of extra soil was hydroseeded a couple months ago and it's all established pretty long grass. So that's been stabilized pretty well too.
What's the other pile of dirt next to that?
That's the excavation for the electrical box. They're putting in the electrical handholds, so directly next to the building, they're still doing some utility work, so that'll be closed in the next week or so. And then really all the groundwork will cease. Well, all work will cease. They're actually not even mobilized on site right now. The site contractors, just the electricians. So, but that'll all cease shortly once they have it online until next year.
So David's,
When those Bowman seed it.
David's concerned about the, about putting down mulch. Or is gonna be changed to like the erosion blankets.
Yeah, I think he had suggested mulch just
Right.
as an option, and that was one of the things we discussed. I think the mulch is, if they'll have to pull it all up next year, it might erode itself. It's not necessarily something that doesn't move around. I think the erosion control blankets get put down, they overlap each other, they get essentially big staples go into them to hold them down. And then in the spring, those would be, they'll put the loam down and then the erosion control blankets, and then they'll seed it next year, and it should just grow right through that biodegradable mesh.
And they could probably.
They won't have to disturb it again.
Seed it or the grass will just.
Right, they can seed it now and then it'll grow next year, and then they don't have to, dig out the wood chips or anything like that. And then the old building and obviously the rental pump will be removed, and that'll be restored just to grass too, so. So that's just an update on that, and then for the parking lot, I think. I guess just continuation is what we're requesting. For now, I don't have a timeline on that.
This is, you're talking about the 20-car lot, 20 bay parking garage?
No, he's talking about
No, it's just
by the
we had
pump.
submitted a stormwater permit application for a parking lot for Marion Fathers.
I have here,
It's not within the wetlands, it's the stormwater bylaw. I don't have that plan with me, I apologize.
all I had was
That I don't know anything about.
well, that's what I had. I finally got,
Is that the foundation only?
yes, for the parking garage. Which
What was
is,
the date on that? Oh, that's separate near the monastery building, and I'm not sure about,
Is it in our jurisdiction?
I'm not involved in that I know of.
it's, if the building itself was, this is.
Depends
I
on,
know there was some talk originally about covering some of this parking, either with solar panels or an enclosure.
It says 20
I don't
bay
think it falls
garage,
within a
one
wetland.
floor,
Area.
1 car deep parking structure, foundation only. That must be something that started this year.
There's a stream going through there, isn't there?
No, it's off to the side a little bit.
This is outside the buffer zone. We kept all of the parking.
you're gonna disturb more than 10,000 square feet?
Oh, I can't tell from this,
How
but
many
probably
spaces?
20.
200 times 50?
Yeah, essentially.
Is 10,000.
That's 10,000.
18 by 9 times 20.
My understanding, it's going right where the trailers are now.
So that would be another if it is, it's another stormwater.
Yes, because there's gonna be a huge runoff.
Well, I
know
think
where.
the idea is it's not new impervious area because you're covering the existing asphalt area. So they're not creating 10,000 square feet of new impervious area. They would just be covering what's there now. So you would be
Right now, it's all dirt.
collecting it. It's a covered parking, well, isn't it, it's an existing parking area, I believe was approved as asphalt.
That could be.
Yeah. So it'd be converting the existing parking, which is approved, to a covered structure. Again, I'm privy to this discussion, so.
This is the building, it's the parking. That's the building.
No, this is. This is existing, because there should be one, and proposed. Bill. Oh, sorry, this is for the new parking lots, it's a separate project. This is the old, this is the existing monastery, the new monastery building.
Yeah.
Off Prospect Hill, there's a approved parking area here. I think the idea is to approve a covered structure over those parking.
It's not what that says, no. That doesn't say cover. Anybody, foundation only.
Right, and isn't this,
That makes it sound like it's, I
Right.
don't know.
excuse me, here, isn't this water here?
That's a stormwater swale, yep.
Yep, and here's the culvert right there, underneath the road.
Right.
And this eventually goes down and is torn us, that can
Do you deal,
flow like crazy if it has to.
do you deal with Chris Walsh?
I know of him, I've met him, yeah.
Supervisor? Well. I have.
Yeah, he works for J&J, or JJ Keller, who is the general contractor.
We'll go talk to him.
So he must have submitted that, I think.
I got this from
Don't think.
building
it's
inspector.
within Wetland jurisdiction, and I don't think that they're adding impervious area because it's already an approved parking area.
But it says foundation.
But I think this is just for a building permit, correct?
Foundation only permit.
Foundation for a
Parking.
garage, essentially.
Covered parking. so you
One car
have
deep
a-
parking structure.
Turn around inside a building.
That would kind
I'm
of,
just guessing, but it sounds to me like a long garage that needs a foundation and that would have over it.
I don't even know if it'd have walls.
I know there was some discussion of that initially,
Carport.
but it wasn't included in the original proposal. But I don't think it's new impervious surface. It's essentially just a building.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, if it's a foundation, if they're asking for a foundation, it sounds new. But anyway, we'll find out.
Right, but the foundation, I think, is replacing asphalt.
Okay.
Or replacing parking spaces.
Okay.
All right, you're out of here.
Oh, you have one more.
I own one.
What are you doing now?
Well, we met on site at
His driveway.
Zero Interlake and,
Oh, the Woods Road.
yeah.
Road.
So Craig Moffett, who happens to be my father-in-law, owns this 35-acre parcel. Most of which is a swamp, 20 acres of it or so is wetland, but the upland section, it's under chapter 61 for forestry protection. And the idea is to improve the access to get into that section and also remove invasive species. And I think really in order to get in with a trailer, that would be necessary just to remove some of that brush and stuff that's ground cover is atrocious right now. But just to get in there, I'd like to make a 40-foot diameter turnaround area on the hilltop, which just happens to be where the buffer zone of BVWs on either side just intersect fairly. It's an existing clearing. It just has 3 large pine trees in it. So I'd like to remove those 3 pine trees. And so it's a total of 6 pine trees to do this access, but 3 of them are in the buffer. I propose to plant 6 maple trees, which I more or less plan to do more than that anyway, because I'd like to establish some more hardwoods in this pine forest. They're underrepresented. It's just that this was an agricultural field 60, 70 years ago, and what came up is mostly invasive species and pines. So if I could diversify that a little over time, maybe not even in my lifetime, but it just, yeah, the intent is to be able to access it and work on the invasives, which I've been doing slowly.
You should be able to do that in your lifetime. I have confidence.
I mean, if I plant some trees, I don't know how big they'll be. We'll see.
They'll grow. My life.
And this is under,
Chestnut trees.
these are recommendations directly out of the forest management plan, which is a 10-year plan that was written by Ed Denham, who is a local forester. So two of the, just reading right out of, for this particular stand, so it's divided into one stand on this side, one stand on the west side, and then the 20-acre swamp, which is not a usable stand, obviously, it's wetland, so, but this is directly out of here. He lists all the invasives that are there and says essentially access is poor. Invasive species should be managed without removing the canopy because that'll encourage more invasives to grow. So I don't want to cut any trees that I don't need to. Right now, I'm just trying to protect the ones that are there by removing the bittersweet. So, ambitious, but really, I'm here, I think, essentially because cutting these 3 trees is going to open the canopy up in this particular area to less than 50%. Otherwise, it's all exempt under the Wetland Protection Act for forestry management. So
I make a motion to approve the RDA. Like.
One second.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Ron.
I made a motion. I'll approve it again. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Bill R.
thank you.
Thank you.
Want to plant any walnuts or chestnuts?
I don't know about chestnuts.
They told me these were retirement trees. Plant these black walnuts and then when you go to retire, you cut them down.
Yeah, no, I know that would be great. I don't know the conditions are correct for it, but there is a lot of black cherry. I hope to encourage that. Black cherry, maples. I took the liberty of filling out a form too, so I don't know if you can use that or not. But I appreciate the time.
I found a lot of your chestnuts. They're all gone.
So we still haven't planted ours, but.
I don't want to sign tonight.
Since you so nicely provided it, I suppose we could.
While we're signing, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So the Foot property, I'm hearing that there's a lot of parking on the.
I talked to him about it already.
Yes, please.
What about even just a sign? I think part of why people park is they don't even know.
The town trucks that are there now are because of the work they're doing on the salt shed.
No.
They tore the sides off, now they're putting new sides up. When the sides are completed and the carpenters are gone, the trucks and trailer will be over alongside the salt shed and out of that area. I also told them to remove the stone little parking area that they installed over there.
Okay, so they know. Okay.
So it has become a
parking
repository.
Yeah, they got some,
Should I wait for this out here?
Sure.
I'll mail it.
they got some stone or cement stuff over on the far corner.
So.
All right.
Let's keep an eye on it because we could help to just put up a split rail fence and sign so people know. Stay out.
But that's kind of where they push the snow and always. We'll keep an eye on it, see how it goes.
Okay.
All right, so this is Brian's determination of applicability, which we just signed. And which we just approved. The emergency certification for Beaver Solutions. This is the ANRAD for the Sisto. This is the bridge repair for the town.
Which bridge?
Curtis,
Park Street.
Hopkins Bridge, Park Street.
Did we send off on the trail bridge?
That's all been done.
It's all been done, but I think they're waiting for us to say.
Haven't gotten a certificate, request for a certificate of compliance.
They said, no, I don't think we didn't do it.
It was an RDA, I think, so they don't have anything that follows up. It's only a notice of intent to get the certificate of compliance. And this is Marion's pump house.
Who's ahead?
Who's ahead? It's 2-1 Toronto. It's the World Series. I love the World Series.
Rooting for Toronto, right?
I like them both. I do like.
I'm rooting for Toronto.
I would like Toronto.
I don't care anything about the World Series, but I want to see Toronto win this one.
Yeah. I would like to.
You're here.
Yeah.
You good? Oh, wait, let me go. Wait a minute, let me finish here.
Thanks.
I think we're good.
The the Sisto, do we hold that?
It hasn't been written yet. I mean, it's just in the draft form.
Or what Patrick sent?
It's what Patrick just sent, so that we would be, it was a heads up from Patrick, just so that we would know what had been agreed
Okay.
under the,
Okay.
Look good.
Look good.
Yeah,
I thought so too.
I looked at it.
Yeah.
But he was just saying, okay, this is what they have to do, or this is what they were required to do under the agreement with the town. Okay, I gotta make sure I got them all. One. Four. Five. Do you want to take the one for the pump house?
Sure.
Okay, I can copy that for you. All right.
The motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
We good?
I, Bill, R.
Ally.
Lisa. Thank you.
Good night all.
That is-
Good night.